There is a moment at the beginning of every hard thing. The task is in front of you. You have the time. You have decided this is the day, this is the hour, this is when you finally begin. And then the brain offers you something easier, a message to check, a smaller task that also needs doing, a reason to start tomorrow instead. You accept the offer. You always accept the offer. And you tell yourself you'll begin properly when the resistance clears. Here is what I need to tell you about that resistance. It doesn't clear. It is not a sign that the timing is wrong. It is not a sign that you are wrong for the task. It is stage one. Your brain enters flow, the state Stephen Kotler calls the most productive, most creative, most learning accelerated condition available to the human nervous system only through a specific sequence. That sequence has 4 stages, and the first stage is struggle. The prefrontal cortex is hyperactive. The brain is loading the task, acquiring what it needs, and this process is cognitively expensive and uncomfortable. The inner critic is loudest here, precisely because it lives in the prefrontal cortex, precisely because the prefrontal cortex is most active at the start. Most people read this discomfort as information, wrong task, wrong timing, come back when conditions are better. They are stopping at the entrance and calling it a wall. But the discomfort is not a wall. It is the biology of preparation. Here is the mechanism that makes this make sense. Psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi spent 25 years mapping the conditions that produce flow. The central finding, the one researchers call the golden rule, is the challenge skills balance. Your brain pays maximum attention when the challenge in front of you is real, but not overwhelming. Approximately 4% beyond your current skill level, enough to require genuine focus, not enough to trigger fear. That 4% is the channel. Too easy, attention wanders. The brain disengages. Boredom is not rest. It is psychic energy draining away with nowhere to go. Too hard, the system floods. Fear dominates. The prefrontal cortex hyperactivates, and the whole enterprise shuts down. Flow lives in the narrow water between those two banks. And this is what makes the resistance at the start not a reason to leave, but a sign you are standing at exactly the right place. The question is whether you are willing to go through the loading phase long enough to reach what comes after. Because what comes after is everything. Researcher Stephen Kotler spent years studying peak performers across every domain: soldiers, athletes, scientists, artists. He documented the flow cycle, 4 stages, every time, no exceptions. Stage 1, struggle, loading, the inner critic loudest. Stage 2, release, step back, let it breathe. The subconscious continues where the conscious cannot. Stage 3, flow, prefrontal cortex quiets, self-monitoring deactivates. The neurochemical cocktail dopamine, norepinephrine, anandamide releases. Performance lifts. Stage 4, recovery. The neurochemicals were expensive. The brain needs to replenish. You cannot skip stage 1. The struggle is not an obstacle to the flow state. It is the entrance. This is what entering the flow state on command actually means. Not waiting for the right mood or the right circumstances. Building the conditions deliberately inside whatever you are already doing. 2 moves. First, find the channel. If the task feels empty, raise the challenge. Tighter deadline, higher standard. If it feels crushing, shrink the scope until it sits at the edge of possible. That edge is the 4%. Second, when resistance arrives, name it. Out loud. This is stage 1. This is loading. This is not a sign to stop. Joe Kramer welded railroad cars in a South Chicago plant. 43-second task. 600 times a day. For 5 years. The man beside him endured it and spent every evening trying to forget the day. Joe loved it because Joe had been asking one question every single day for 5 years that the man beside him never asked, "How can I beat my record?" Same plant, same task, same pay. The only variable was how Joe structured his attention inside the 43 seconds. That is the complete mechanism. The channel exists inside any task you point it at. The struggle at the start is not the enemy. It is the biology of beginning. The task you have been avoiding is not waiting for you to be ready. It is waiting for you to begin. Here is the uncomfortable truth that sits underneath all of this. Most people will never enter the flow state deliberately, not because the biology is unavailable to them, because they have trained themselves through years of accepting the easier offer to quit at exactly the moment the brain was about to cross into the channel. The resistance is not protecting you from failure. It is protecting you from the discomfort that precedes your best work. You have been taking that protection your entire life. Stage 1 is the entrance. Every person who has ever done something they are proud of went through it. The question is what you do the next time the brain makes you an offer.